Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into uncovering the real mechanics of profitable pig feeding. A lot of folks think pig farming is just, well, having pigs. But make no mistake, this is a tough, numbers-driven business. And in this business, feed is quite literally everything. So today, we're going to unpack the top feeding mistakes that are quietly eating away at farm profits and figure out exactly how the smart farmers avoid them entirely.
So picture this, you've got two farmers. They're raising the exact same breed of pig for the exact same number of months. But when market day rolls around, one of them walks away making a massive profit while the other faces devastating losses. How does that happen? Well, it all comes down to feeding management. It is literally the deciding factor between getting rich and going broke.
To put this into perspective, think about this number. Feed alone eats up anywhere from 60 to 80% of your total pig production costs. Up to 80%. When that much of your budget is sitting right there in the trough, even one tiny recurring mistake can completely destroy your margins. And the scary part? You probably won't even notice until it's way too late.
All right, let's jump into mistake 1, ignoring growth stages. Assuming all pigs should eat the exact same meal from day 1 to market is a really costly blunder. A pig's nutritional needs change incredibly fast. Think about it like growing kids. Piglets are developing at lightning speed, so they need high-protein, easily digestible feed packed with vitamins. But as they get older and become growers, you gotta pivot. Suddenly, they need muscle-building nutrients with balanced energy. By the finisher stage, it's all about packing on the weight efficiently, which means way more energy and carefully controlled protein. And of course, lactating sows need a massive boost in nutrients and calcium just to keep producing milk. If you try to use a one-size-fits-all feed for the whole farm, you are absolutely guaranteeing slow growth and wasted money.
Moving right along to mistake 2, buying cheap, low-quality feed. A lot of farmers think they're pulling off a great business move by hunting down the cheapest bag of feed they can find. But honestly, it's a dangerous illusion. It leads to this wild concept called hidden starvation. Basically, the cheap feed is just stuffed with cheap fillers and terrible protein sources. So the pig eats it, its stomach is completely full, and the farmer thinks, great, they're eating. But their bodies are literally starving for the actual vital nutrients needed to grow. It's a classic case of getting what you pay for, and that cheap feed almost always ends up being your most expensive mistake.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, if you're walking your farm and you see rough haircoats, uneven pig sizes, or frequent sickness, you need to pay attention. But the most frustrating sign, it's when your pigs are eating a mountain of feed, but putting on barely any weight. If that's happening, that bargain bin feed is actually costing you a fortune in lost time.
Oh, and it gets worse. Actually, let's be real, it gets downright dangerous. Cheap or poorly stored feed often hides a lethal threat: mycotoxins. Never, ever feed spoiled or moldy feed to your animals just to save a few bucks. Mycotoxins are brutal. They damage organs, they cause sows to abort, and they can completely wipe out your piglets. Any money you thought you saved is gone instantly when these toxins devastate your herd's health.
Okay, let's hit mistake 3, feeding incorrect amounts.
This one catches so many people off guard because it's a really delicate balance. On one side, you have overfeeding. Some folks think, hey, more feed equals faster growth, right? Wrong. Excess feed just leads to wasted cash and fat, obese pigs, which completely ruins reproductive efficiency, by the way. But on the flip side, underfeeding is just as bad. Sometimes farmers restrict feed when prices spike to save money, but it just creates stunted, aggressive pigs with terrible immune systems. And remember, time is money. The longer a stunted pig is sitting on your farm eating, the more your labor, water, and medication costs just swallow up your profit. The real secret here is absolute precision.
Which brings us to mistake 4, the silent water killer.
We spend so much time obsessing over the feed, but if you ignore clean water, digestion and growth just stop, period. No water means they stop eating. It's that simple. If you're seeing dry skin, constipation, or suddenly your pigs just aren't hitting the trough, you probably have a water problem. Pigs need massive amounts of water to digest food and regulate their body heat. But if that water's dirty, it's a silent killer spreading E. coli and salmonella. And get this, if the water or the drinker smell bad, pigs will just refuse to drink entirely. So you could have the most expensive, perfect feed in the world, and it's completely useless without abundant, crystal clean water.
And that leads us to mistake 5, poor feed storage. Imagine doing everything else right. You bought the best feed, matched the growth stages perfectly, and then you just ruin it in the storage shed.
poor storage can silently wipe out thousands of naira before the feed even gets near a pig. If you just leave bags directly on the floor, moisture seeps in immediately. Keep it in a humid, stuffy room, fungal growth goes crazy. And rodents? Complete nightmare. Their droppings contaminate everything and spread disease like wildfire. Smart farmers are meticulous about this. They use pallets, they aggressively fight off rodents, and they always rotate their stocks so the old feed gets used first.
Oh, real quick, before we get to the big payoff, a little bonus mistake for you. Pigs absolutely despise sudden dietary changes. Like if you just swap their feed brand or the formula overnight, you're gonna trigger huge stress. They'll refuse to eat and you'll be dealing with severe diarrhea. Always transition them to a new feed slowly over a few days.
All right, the climax. Who wins the profit game? Let's solve that mystery from the beginning and see why one farmer crushed it and the other one failed. It's just harsh economic reality. Both farmers raise their pigs to the exact same market weight. But farmer A, poor feeding management. His pigs eat way too much, but grow super slowly. Farmer B uses a perfectly balanced feeding strategy. His pigs grow much faster and they actually consume less feed overall. So even if both of these guys go to market and sell their pigs for the exact same price, Farmer B walks away wealthy while Farmer A is barely breaking even.
Farmer B's secret weapon all comes down to one single metric: feed conversion efficiency. This is simply the measure of how effectively a pig takes the feed in the trough and turns it into actual body weight. It is not about how much feed you buy. It is all about how efficiently your animals can process it. This one idea is the absolute dividing line between farmers who make real money and farmers who are constantly struggling.
So how do we actually pull this off? It boils down to a few core steps. 1. Use age-appropriate feed. 2. Treat quality feed as an investment, not an expense. 3. Provide endless, clean water. 4. Be super consistent with your feeding schedules. And 5. Store your feed properly. When you start doing these things, you completely shift your mindset. You stop thinking about just filling stomachs, and you start engineering maximum growth efficiency.
I want to leave you with a quote that really hits the nail on the head. A farmer who feeds properly can make more profit with 20 pigs than another farmer makes with 100. Having more animals doesn't mean you're successful. Bad feeding practices will silently bankrupt you. But if you feed wisely, your pigs will efficiently turn that feed directly into cash. So looking at your own setup right now, how are you going to transform your farm's feed efficiency tomorrow?